Hello guys, Alex here, and today we are taking a look at maybe the best team in the game, if not the best, the second best. Many people would argue it's the best right now, and that is Block, using this team synergy. So you just need Ocean Master to have him unlocked, and just one character with him. It's very easy to put Nightwing with him, and if you are lucky and you get Blue Beetle, that I luckily pulled as my first legendary after Wonder Woman, pulling the banner, awesome. He's great. Otherwise, at the early game, I have a second account. I have Vixen with them in Elite Arena, and they win. So Vixen at least gets some block on her kit. So is here if for allies are still alive, she gains 20% block. So even with a small investment in Vixen, as you don't have many other tanks and you need to have 6 tanks or at least 6 people in the front row for Elite Arena, it can make some sense to have Vixen as a temporary substitute. Not many people are using Vixen, especially when you get Blue Beetle. I'm not saying she's great, she's probably not a very good character. Bloodsport is kind of the same. If you have him early game, I tested him with block in the second account. He definitely synergizes with them, but to activate this you only need one block character, and there are some things that happen when the sim blocks, and where is he? It's messed around my the epics are behind other colors. So what he, with using his ultimate, he guarantees a block basically, but what I don't particularly like with him is if he's the DPS of the team and you also have a healer with them, he doesn't really do enough damage to carry the damage for a whole team. When he uses his ultimate, it makes the team block, and he uses once his advanced attack, which does some damage, but and it's a 3 turn cooldown, so he doesn't do his advanced attack often. His ultimate does equal damage than an advanced attack, and he's hitting single target. Kinda feels like he's a bit slow in the attack department. Not many people are using him when they have many characters unlocked, so I wouldn't either. If you have him unlocked and you don't have too many characters, you are the first days playing in the game, okay, but I would never use Ocean Master and his synergy, especially early game when you don't need many teams, you maximum need 2, and when you will get 2 you will probably have many teams to play with, unless it's with Nightwing. Maybe in a weird world where you have Blue Beetle and not Nightwing, okay, but Nightwing is very available, very easy to get. You can farm his shard, his fragments in the Elseworld shop, and it's he's probably the best option in there, so you can farm him every week. I pulled him many times from the mother box, like this one, more than half of them by mistake, and he's massive now. But also, he's the best tank in the game, like straight damage absorption, like someone that you will throw as the main tank that gets hit by 3 people. And so if you go here where I have also the team, the second team, in the places now he gets hit by the 3 people that are on the top, on the left part of the screen, and a Black Canary and the other Amazon tank are hitting Blue Beetle. So where he is now, in my Nightwing, he gets hit by 3 people instead of 2. He likely will absorb more ultimates and advanced attacks besides basics, unless like someone's hitting the back row or something. And he's the best for this position by far, probably in the game, especially because he's very available and you can have many shards on him. Yes, you could argue like if I had my Blue Beetle at 2 silver shards like him, maybe he would be better. I don't think he would, but he would be better outside of absorbing attacks. He would be also doing damage and some stuff. Maybe he would be better in absorbing attacks, but it's not realistic for most people to have a Blue Beetle at the same size as a Nightwing, especially if you want to go free to play. It's impossible basically, or takes a long time to do so. You're lucky if you get Blue Beetle as a free to play, and Blue Beetle works at a 7 stars. I postponed a bit making this video because I wanted to see his team synergy at level 10, at the level 3 team synergy, and I would anyways do Blue Beetle to 3 red, so I said okay, I want to have this again taken into account. He doesn't need to be at 3 red. With 2 red, he helps by blocking, and the team gets going because this changed a bit. I think it's every 4 times your team blocks an attack, and maybe in level 1 it's every 5 times they block an attack. Their attack stat of all of them, not just the block characters, not just him and Nightwing, for example, or Blue Beetle, gain plus 4% each time they gain. So after a few turns, they will be having 30% more attack for the whole match. And when you bring him at here level 3, it also heals everyone, which is a nice small healing that happens consistently, especially with someone like Nightwing, where if you have block gear into him and you have some of those at maxed out, because the 4th stat might be block, and you select some that the 4th stat is block, and even this one where the 1st stat can be block, and the block stat that gives him another 5% if there's 2, and another 10% if there's another 2, so 15% from that, he ends up having like 58% block. This can give him more block, especially when you use an ultimate, it gives him 40% more block, so he reaches 100. His emblem needs to be, for him to be a strong tank, you need to have his emblem at minimum at 15. So he gets the 19.1% block amount when he blocks. This makes a massive difference, and when he's at 25, it goes to 32.4, which is better. And having him like this and putting block gear specifically onto him, and maybe an artifact like that, because it increases when he uses his ultimate for the first time for 2 rounds, it increases his block chance, and he gives him damage reduction for indefinitely until the end of the match. So Nightwing is awesome because he has the block amount, he is very tanky this way, and I haven't even talked about like what Ocean Master does in combination with him. This, if he uses his ultimate, it will give him a firm stand, which increases his block chance, and on the other person in the front row with him, like Blue Beetle. But this is the main like allure of Nightwing, is when he gets hit and he blocks, the opponents take damage, and a lot of damage. It can really add up. It can be very nice to see the opponents hitting him and losing a lot of HP. He gains also passively the block. I don't know if this is counted in this or not. Most likely not. because I already have a lot of block on him. And it increases by 30%. And yeah, Nightwing basically like the gear you want to have on him is 4 block, of course, and then probably like HP, because it's 3% HP bonus will make him a little bit tankier. Doesn't matter too much if you want to do like attack or crit for whatever reason. You want him to do a little bit more damage, but he's not really a damage dealer in the team. He is by blocking, not by doing his ultimate or his basic. They can add up a little bit and help the team, but not too much. Doesn't matter. I think a lot what there is second besides block is for him, but I think HP bonus can help him a little bit more, because his job is to sit in the position where he will be hit the most and absorb as many hits as possible, and the opponents take damage because he blocks. This one here, his advanced attack, gives to an ally with the lowest HP every 3 turns 50% block and 50% block amount. Then it does it to the 2 allies with the lowest HP, and when you bring him at 5 red, it does it for 2 turns. So every 3 turns he does that, and now it lasts 2 out of 3 turns basically. So giving him 50% block chance and 50% block amount on top of the 32.4% that he already has, he doesn't get almost 0 damage, like very little. He's very tanky with that. Let's continue with Ocean Master, and because Ocean Master originally, I was reading his kit and I was seeing many people using him, I wasn't like really impressed, and I didn't really rush to build him up. I think it's a big mistake, especially now that I brought him at 5 rate. I would have liked to bring him at 5 rate earlier, because it's awesome and it's a great team, probably the best I have, and very consistent and very flexible, not just like an arena team. Like crit team is a way of looking at it. They're flexible like a Wonder Woman, but not Red Hood too much. So if you read this, okay, it applies 1 stack of weaken, it reduces their attack by 8%, their block break by 5%. Okay, no big deal. You might be thinking, maybe it adds a little bit of bleed, okay, it does a little bit of damage. And you don't really see too much besides that. But in practice, what I wasn't like fully aware when I was just reading the kit is when an ally blocks an attack, he counterattacks. Nightwing blocks a lot. If this goes off, other people will start blocking a lot. If you have someone like him with a block gear here, he blocks a lot, and he also gains block from his emblem, and Ocean Master gets block from his emblem. It's a bit annoying. Ocean Master doesn't counterattack when he blocks, only when his allies block. But my understanding is this goes off when Ocean Master blocks. So it increases the attack, it heals. It just doesn't. He just doesn't counterattack when he blocks, and he also takes less damage because he has block amount from here. So having block gear on him is very nice, and you have 3 people blocking a lot. Your attacks out of everyone in the team, even if you don't have him at the level 3 where they will be healing. Also, on top of that, they will at least have a better attack. Your whole team. And I think that's very strong team synergy that I love using. So like when I brought this at level 3, I just seemed the last her basically, like level 25 and 26. I was having red hoods at the level 3. I was having a big Nightwing. I was having a big Wonder Woman. I was having a very big Zatanna. I was having Ocean Washer with them at a 4 red. They couldn't clear level 25. When I brought Ocean Master to 5 red and activated his team synergy, it cleared 25 first sim, it cleared 26 second sim. It's a very nice use for them. You kinda make a combination, as I said, of a team. I have a video where I beat it. It was very, very quick, and I explained the team that I have there. You can have, for a long time, I had, especially when I had level 7 for Blue Beetle, where he cannot get artifacts, I had the artifact this one here that gives them block chance. So they can work with what a Ocean Master Sim Synergy does, and I had the block on him. Now I have temporarily put the attack, just because he counterattacks a lot, he puts out Blitz, and this can do more damage, and you need a little bit of help in the down department, but not too much. I'm gonna talk about who you're throwing with those 3 characters after I speak a little bit about them and why they work. Many people are throwing this artifact in with them because when it goes to level 3, it also puts out debuffs, and this is an offensive artifact. It gives like a damage amplification. Yes, and but usually this is my understanding is they do that because they want to mix a block and a debuff. So you throw Sinestro with them, and there are a lot of debuffs going out because he counterattacks a lot and puts out weakens. So he does his basic attack when he counterattacks, and he puts out tons of weaken that then stack, and it's not 80%, it's 8% times however many weaken they have. That can be 5, 8, 10. They quickly add up, especially in something like main stages where it takes a while. This can really add up and reduce the damage that they're doing a lot. And the guarantee is basically that you block because it reduces their block break. And his ultimate is nice to be going off. I have it at 4th turn, but later in the match, not very fast, because for if you use it first, you're just gonna put out weaken on everyone, one weaken, and that's it. Like 8% less damage for everyone, and you wasted 3 ultimate energy for that. If you are using it later when the opponents have 10 weaken stacks everyone, or even up to 15 they can go, you will add 15 stacks of bleeds for 2 turns, and if you have him at level 10 at 5 red, for 3 turns. So a lot of bleeds. Each bleed does damage equal to 20% of attack, which being 20% times 10, let's say, times 2 turns, it is like 400% damage for each character. Usually the bleeds aren't always like 10, each character has 10. Some people that hit more will have maybe 15 or 10, and some people might have 4. But all those, and especially when you have them, this is for 3 turns, then it's a lot of damage that happens, and it's based on attack. So it's an argument why you may want to have attack gear with him, or at least attack bonus here in the first stats of the communication device and the accessory. Which is the best gear to invest more on, because the first stat is more impactful by being percentage if you happen to have him like this. So you could have him like 4 block and 2 attack for this reason. Early on, you can have him 4 block and 2 HP because he's a bit squeezier in the back row. Maybe we can also bring him in a front row together with Nightwing in some situations. Either you may not have Blue Beetle, or you want to make a team that does a lot of damage in the back row for something like a team up, he can work in the front row. Or you want to have a limitation on what characters you want to use, and you want to either in system recovery, where you maybe don't want to use mighty or intelligent characters, or in a convergence crisis, being in having only to use a green characters. Maybe you don't have another great green tank and you want to throw him there. Also, bringing him also master at 5 red allowed me to push the green convergence crisis like 10 stages, because it's very very impactful. It's very very strong doing that. Also in the current, like for Superman, I'm using it and it's very very nice. So this allows me to do my best score, and him being in here basically like allows a Nightwing to survive. He does counter attacks, he does damage. It's nice, and it also activates like the 30% more attack to everyone else, and this can be nice. So this can be a solution to have HP on him, especially when he's small, when you have less stars on him. That's what I used to do. Another argument is you can use speed on him, because also a thinking that I'm using about that, I haven't tested extensively him since he's at 5 red, is that his advanced attack, in my understanding, it's every 3 turns that he takes, it goes off passively, basically, automatically, and it takes 2 turns for, I think it's for each character their own turns. Even if it's for his turns, Ocean Masters, I don't think it's for his turns. So having speed gear on him bridges a little bit the gap, and makes it the window where this is not off a little bit shorter. So if this goes off for 2 turns every 3, but his turns are shorter, it might go off again when the first 2 turns have passed and your teammates don't have this protection. He might, having the speed gear, he might lap an opponent that would do a lot of damage to your teammates and apply this, and because he has the extra 8 speed, and then your teammates will be hit a lot less. So he protects them this way. He also will be using his basic a tiny bit more often, so maybe because he used his basic, he's faster, and he used his basic one more time before he went to his ultimate. His ultimate is applying, because based on how many stacks of weekend are there, it will be applying to one person one more bleed for 3 turns. Plus, like applying a weekend and bleed quicker might make an opponent do 8% less damage if they go right after you in between of the 8 speed, let's say. So it makes them hit a bit less hard. Also, generally speaking, I'm very much a fan of a speed stat, and every 5 basics that your team does, they take ultimate energy and they can use ultimates. So when you have a team that is fast, they can use more ultimates. So you can use your ultimate a tiny bit faster, because Ocean Master is a little bit faster. Besides, like the other issue, I'm not so entirely convinced. I don't think it makes a massive difference. Besides having a block gear, 4 block gear. What is the second one? It can be a speed, it can be HP, especially when he's small, it might be better. It can be attack, and I don't know why you would want to have it crit. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure. I think his blitz can crit, but I don't think it's a or at least he counterattacks a lot, so crit might do a little bit more damage this way. I'm not saying crit would be horrible, but his job is mostly like with his affinity to go off, his team synergy. So when he blocks, your teammate gain more attack stats, and he heals them. And so more healing will go off with block, and he will take less damage since he has already reduced the block amount. And I think I covered him a lot. He's awesome. He's great. He can just work with Nightwing. You don't really need Blue Beetle. He definitely will make the team stronger. And if you have Blue Beetle just at 2 red, he will be strong. Right now have this gear block on him. He has block certain block amount by his emblem. The best gear for him is block and HP, but because I happen to have this piece, the communication device, as block, and I had him this as speed, I also put this as speed, so he gains +8 speed. Doesn't make too much of a difference, like the 3% HP. I got it because I maxed this gear out and it gives me 4% at the last spot. So he has more HP and he's a little bit faster because I put this gear into him. He does many things to counter the crit teams. So if you have him in a team, this team in Elite Arena, even in main arena, see people are trying to use a block, and that's interesting. Maybe it has some merit. But he does many things to stop a crit, and in Elite Arena you have a good chance to beat a crit team that are usually the strongest team in Elite Arena. So he gets crit damage reduction and gives to the back row allies. So your team will, based on the block that he has, one more reason to have block gear on him. So your team are protected a little bit from damage by him. It gives also damage reduction when he gets hit by critical hits, both to himself and the back row, again protecting them. Then he increases his block rate to make it more guaranteed that he blocks, and he has a bit block reduction in his emblem. And if you have him rank 10, he gains more crit damage reduction to himself, is my understanding, or also back row allies. It doesn't really specify, but I think it means to himself. His advanced attack, is every 2 turns. He adds 1 stack of weaken for 2 turns. So it's a way he synergizes with Ocean Master, and Ocean Master can put out more blitz this way. It's maybe a tiny bit of an argument. I wouldn't say you want to put speed on him, but it's a small advantage that I'm having speed on him instead of HP, because I have this here, having block, which is a lot more important than having to have more block on him than having a little bit of more, having the HP set. And because of that, he's gonna use his advanced attack a bit more often, and will add a little bit more weekends, helping Ocean Master out, and the opponents will do less damage to you. And yeah, more stacks of weekend. And at rank 9, which looks juicy, very nice, is if the opponents have frantic, it will make 1 frantic exhaustion. Exhaustion decreases damage dealt by the next attack by 50%. That's a lot. That's so I think if they just use their ultimate right after, it will do half the damage, which sounds very like basically nullifying like someone like a Wonder Woman, and decreasing their crit chance by 10%, removing a frantic. that's great. And having speed on him might make it a bit more often this happens. Or he even laps an opponent before using their ultimate and does that and makes it frantic. Makes a frantic exhaustion if he's a rank 9. Okay. His basic removes one frantic from it hits someone, and if he has a frantic, he attacks the enemy with the highest crit rate. Can be Wonder Woman very often, and deals damage. He gains 1 stack of firm sand, so he has more block, and which will go a little bit more often when he has speed. Nice. And if the target has frantic, 1 stack is removed. So this can be helpful again to counter crit. And his ultimate will give shelter, so they decrease the damage taken from the next attack by 50% to the back row allies for 2 turns, and does a little bit of damage. And then it will give 2 stacks of shelter. I don't know how they stack up and what is, because what will go to 100%, and then white has maximum 3 stacks minus 150%. I don't really understand the mechanics behind that, but I have his ultimate going off last. He does very little damage, especially when he's at 7 red, like minuscule. I even felt like his ultimate is just a waste. Never used it. Better to cap up, cap off on energy, and then use one more ultimate a bit faster, because his damage was atrocious. Now that I brought him to 3 red, his damage is at least small. It's a little bit noticeable. It's not 0. It felt almost 0. It felt very, very bad. So sometimes I might use it, but I have him in the last spot to use this. My understanding is, if you well out on him and he gets a lot of stars on him, he will also start doing damage and be more annoying. But as a tank, he doesn't die even at 7 red very rarely, especially if you have a healer with them, and I'm gonna talk about next. At 3 red, it feels like this was a small weakness, having him at 2 red, and there was a chance he would die by a team like with the Batman and the Red Hood, where they will be hitting a single target a lot, and then they could everyone target Nightwing and make it a bit more difficult for you. But Nightwing alone can stand as a tank in many situations. Now at 3 red, this feels a lot less likely to happen. Like it makes him a little bit of a better tank as well, and doing at least a little bit of damage. So those 3 are the main pieces. As I said, you just need to have one, so just with Nightwing it would work. And the other 2 characters aren't really great, only for beginners. Just if you don't have many available, throw them together at the early game, and then don't invest too much on stars on them and gear, etc. Gear you can move around, but so let's show how I'm using them on campaign. I have shown this team again in the video. So, and I have them exactly the same thing in Elite Arena, and they win a lot. It's crazy how much they win. Basically, I have them like this. This is the placement. So let's also show it in Elite Arena, just because they are like a reason I'm doing very well in Elite Arena, and they basically are so they are here. So I have them. This team is great, like surviving, or at least reducing the damage they're taking. A healer with them, which could be either Kid Flash or Pandora. For a long time I used Kid Flash instead of Pandora when I didn't have too much investment into her, and it worked almost the same, like great. Also, I didn't even felt like it was a weakness not having Pandora in here. Just Kid Flash is more flexible, Pandora works in here. Kid Flash can work everywhere. Pandora cannot really work everywhere. Maybe if you have full investment in her, like her budget level 30, she also drains herself. But in here, Pandora can work, and you have Kid Flash available for different team. I'm not 100% sure which of the two is better. Both are awesome in this team and work, and I prefer Pandora at the moment. And I think it increased a bit my winning rate in Elite Arena throwing Pandora instead of Kid Flash in here. So having a healer in there allows them, especially before your Ocean Master goes to 5 red. Let's just show them in attack as I'm speaking. So how they're operating in a normal campaign. So let's just have them play. So when you don't have Ocean Master at a 5 red, he doesn't heal his teammates, and it takes a bit longer for their. I just have him on auto attack. It takes a little bit longer for them to block enough, because it takes more blocks for each time the attack for your whole team to go up. So having a healer in there allows your team to survive until they start having more attack, and basically gets the team going. They lack DPS. Like, yes, Ocean Master, especially now that he's big, and if you have attack on him late in the game, he does very decent damage against the many stacks of Weekend. So if you use his ultimate now, it will add, but a little bit after that it would be even better. It will add many stacks of bleed for many turns, so this can be very strong and help with the damage. But let's use it because they already have stun. Okay, so you see it says 15. It's basically 8 times 3 turns. So 15 is the maximum it can show. But it's 8 for one turn, 8 for a second, and 8 for third is my understanding. So having a character in there that has a lot of DPS really works because they don't really do too much damage, but they are great at surviving, especially with a healer in there. But the healer is also a bit there to help the DPS survive, and then you just having a big damage dealer in there really makes everything work together. And John Constantine is an awesome candidate for that. Many people, you gain many stars of him earlier for free. He's a very nice damage dealer, and you can have many stars of him free to play. And Wonder Woman can stand alone in the first team, having the damage, carrying the damage of the first team. Your third team, when you unlock it, you don't really need a massive damage dealer in there in the first chapters because the opponents are weaker, generally speaking. So having Constantine like your second best damage dealer in there, see how they dominate in auto. Yeah. So having Constantine your second best damage dealer in there can really carry enough damage until you also get plus 30% stat, and having also the bleeds from let's go back. I'm gonna play it later. Just auto anyways. Until you start having bleeds, and also Pandora is support a healer that also does damage, which is nice. So I don't think you will have a problem with damage having this team. But also a big reason Constantine is here. Nightwing's ultimate has the base 60% stun chance, which is very frustrating and very annoying when he doesn't land it. And when you have him at 7 stars, for each type of buff he has, chance of stun increases by 10%. So he gains many buffs on his own. He gains here firm stand. His emblem gives him many buffs. So that's a very good reason to have his emblem at level 2. Makes him very strong. He gains 1 buff randomly selected from Recuperate, Sturdy Armor, and Firm Stand for every 2 turns. For 2 turns, every 3 times triggered. Every 3 times triggered is when he blocks and the opponent takes damage. So when he blocks 3 times, he will gain a buff, which everyone hit him. He has a very high block chance, especially with if he's the lowest health percentage, and also Master gives him this extra 50% block, or when he just uses his ultimate here, he has a massive block chance, and he will be getting a lot of buffs here. So this is helpful. Does he give them? I don't think so. No. He neither. So you will still be missing because this can give up to 3, but they're not always different and all together. You're still missing a couple of buffs to make it sure that your ultimate will land. So Constantine helps with that because by his passive it gives strong attack to everyone on your team. Then when they take a turn, and recuperate, which also heals them up and helps someone like Nightwing. He even helps with the sustain by that. And if they when he's at level 8, if they rank 8, if the allies HP is lower than 40%, they additionally gain 1 stack of shelter, which Nightwing will gain less damage, and will have 1 more buff on him. So that's very nice by Constantine doing that, and you make it a lot closer that he's 100% Nightwing to have the block, the 100% stun chance. But then you can also have a support helping with that. Pandora can potentially, with her advanced attack, put 1 stack of cloak. It does to the lowest per person HP. It gives them 1 stack of cloak, which blocks the next incoming like a stun basically, or freeze, or silence. It blocks that, but it's also an extra buff. So if your Nightwing gets hit a lot and he's at low HP, she can potentially give them a buff. Kid Flash is a little bit better for that. So when he uses his ultimate, he gives them 1 stack of shelter. When he uses his... No, this is on his own. When he uses his advanced attack, he gives them recuperate and haste if you have him at the rank 8, which will give you them more speed. And if you heal them and they're at lower than 50% HP, it also gives them 30 armor. Many of those Nightwing is already getting, so it's not always guaranteed that he will have a lot more buffs with Kid Flash in the team. And I found switching from Kid Flash to Pandora, I never really noticed Nightwing stopping his ultimates from doing stuns. Like, I think this is extremely rare, and maybe it could even happen with Kid Flash, because opponents can also clear buffs from you in some situations. Kid Flash, then yes, it's awesome with them. Pandora is a healer that heals multiple people. Kid Flash, because he's fast, he hits one person a lot, but he can take many turns, and you can also have speed gear on him. For that, he gains many turns, and can potentially the first turn heal the one person that is low HP. The second turn he will heal the second one and kind of help them survive this way. Pandora's ultimate heals every time based on hits 6 times, and when her badge is at level 20 it hits another 2, so 8 times. Every time it looks who has the lowest proportion of HP and it heals them. So first it might heal Nightwing a couple of times, then Blue Beetle, then once Constantine, and then one Ocean Master, then one Nightwing, because then he will be the lowest HP. It doesn't heal herself, which can be a bit annoying, and it also sacrifices HP to herself. But this works with Constantine because Constantine gives them recuperate. You can have the mirror with them. I have them in Elite Arena and this works. So she heals a little bit after using her ultimate and losing HP. So yeah, that's kind of how this team works. Pandora can be good because in some situations like both Nightwing and Blue Beetle have taken turns, or have taken damage, or they hit a lot of back row and the Ocean Master is getting hit. They're all very tanky. Having him Ocean Master at 5 red makes me consider a little bit maybe we can get by a little bit of a different solution. Were some situations where I had this team very nicely built and I just had like Raven with them. There is a possibility that they will revive someone and can help this way, but I didn't really need a big healer because I had this team more built than the levels made sense that I was. So people may try something like a Zatanna in there that gives drain. I don't really like splitting Zatanna from the Wonder Woman. Maybe if you are the very early game, you can throw like a Black Canary. Where is he? He's a nice healer that heals everyone, but he gets level capped to 220. Some people are merging block and debuff, and that's a way you can have like a Raven reviving someone and being the support that helps with HP maintenance of the team that way. I haven't really tested too many different characters than Constantine. There were situations where the first chapter, let's say in Mage Sages, was very difficult, and I was using both or there was a Batman, but besides the Batman, it was a very difficult team to beat. I was using both a block team like Nightwing, Blue Beetle, and Ocean Master with Zatanna and Wonder Woman, and this has worked very well. I just feel like Wonder Woman is carrying a different team, so if you need to, you can merge them. This has definitely worked. Some people might try to use a Green Arrow. I think it's kind of nice having area of effect damage, hitting a lot of people with this team, but maybe you can try something like Batman to slowly start chipping away one character at a time. I believe you can be a little bit flexible, like maybe substitute Blue Beetle or try to merge them with a Gorilla Grodd as a tank and a Sinestro as a damage dealer, because you don't have Blue Beetle and you are in a place in the campaigns where you need two teams, so you have first team based on Wonder Woman and second block and debuff. I haven't really tested too much the combination of them, to be honest. Maybe some situation you can substitute like a damage dealer like Constantine. Maybe, I don't know, if you happen to have like Green Lantern Hal, many people say he's a very strong damage dealer. or I see some people using Deathstroke with them in Elite Arena, or a different support that helps people survive like Cyborg. I don't have all the characters here. I don't think it's necessarily better, but it can. Oh, I didn't plan to do that. It would be funny if I pull a legendary. No. Okay. But maybe you free up like Constantine to go in a different team and try to activate the Green Arrows team synergy, or do that in Elite Arena. I know this team is very flexible, working both in main stages, in Elite Arena. You can use some of them on team ups. It helped me a lot to beat a very difficult chapter. Now, like, this is always a very challenging team with Lex and Robin. Now change it, but what I used basically was was also didn't need tacticals. It was great. What I used, because I was basically the block team, and Wonder Woman as the biggest damage dealer, this team synergy, and Kid Flash as a healer. This worked great. You having the Ocean Master giving a block reduction to someone like Wonder Woman helps survive. So they're very, very strong. People are using them in Arena now. They are people are using them here for the Superman boss. They are probably of the best teams in the game, and Nightwing is a very plug and play as a tank. His team synergy is great, one of the best in the game. You need them for the Evil Falls, as I said. For this one, let us also briefly like mention the other characters here. So Kid Flash and Pandora are healing based on their attack, so they have attack and an attack bonus here on them. But they are also, they have a very important advanced attack, which this can put a very big shield, and this heals a lot. Kid Flash one does a very big heal, so potentially lapping someone that would kill your team and giving a shield and protecting your teammates, or doing a big heal in case of Kid Flash and giving a little bit of speed to your teammate, I think is very, very important for them. So that's why I have 4 speed on them. I don't think it's very controversial having 4 speed on supports. Basically every support is 4 speeds, and then maybe 2 attack or 2 HP to survive. You can make the argument for someone. I see some people having for Kid Flash HP on him. Maybe the heal gear, I don't really know. Pandora hits a lot and she gains from her kit heal crits, but when she's very low at HP, and also from her 7% from her emblem, and I have the heal crit at the moment as an artifact on her. If some characters are gonna use the heal, it's them, but I think it's better to have attack and have a guaranteed bigger heal every time than having a chance to have a little bit of a bigger heal and having speed doing your heals more often. So you do more often, always a little bit bigger heals because it's based on your attack and you have bigger attacks, than having heal crit and having a chance that your heal is bigger, basically. gives you just heal crit percentage. So you have a chance that every time you heal, it's 50% more healing, I think. But instead of that, you heal more often, and it's more guaranteed. You do also do more damage, having more attack and doing more basics with having speed, and it's more impactful doing lapping someone and healing on or shielding your team than doing it less often. It's potentially like you play your way around RNG. Maybe sometimes it's a bigger heal. Constantine damage on him makes the recuperates heal for more, and my understanding is all the recuperates that he puts on other characters will heal based on his own attack, so that's the reason. Attack bonus. I have HP because he drains a little bit, especially with the artifact I have on him, so maybe he can go fast and heal himself back up, or use recuperate and heal himself back up. Maybe you can have crit on him because he also has crit damage on his emblem where he gets. Yeah. So highly recommend this team, especially even if you have like two teams where you need to be using, because originally, okay, you can throw everyone together like Constantine, Wonder Woman, Zatanna, Lex, but then you can try to make a second team, the block team, have Wonder Woman with Zatanna and Lex as the first team, and it can be very, very strong for a long time in the game, basically.